Are you ready to charge what you're worth? In this episode, we'll explore the mindset shifts needed to confidently set your rates and the value you bring to your clients. Welcome to the Thrive in Practice podcast, a bite-sized show designed to keep you motivated, inspired, and on track to creating a thriving healthcare business. Every Monday morning at 8 a.m., I'll share simple actions you can take in your business right now to help you get more clients, increase your income, and reduce overwhelm. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Thrive in Practice podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all about prices and charging our worth. Now, the idea for this episode came about because of this beautiful gentleman who is in my Thrive in Practice course, and in one of our group mentoring sessions, he said to me that he feels like he was giving away way too much value unpaid, and he was starting to become a little bit resentful of his patients and the time he was putting into his business and not being appropriately paid for his business. He was also questioning the viability of his business moving forward because of the fact that he wasn't getting paid enough when he was seeing his patients. And when I inquired with him about his processes, I found out that when somebody inquired to work with him or to book an appointment with him, he would call them and have a 15 to 20-minute consultation. It wasn't a discovery call where he was just getting to know the patient and then trying to book them in for a consult. He was doing a mini consult, finding out what was going on in their body. He'd ask them to send some additional information, and then he would work out a treatment plan for the patient and then book them in for a consult with the treatment plan ready to go. When I asked him why he wasn't charging for those sessions, he said, I felt like I needed to get to know the patients a little bit better, and I felt a bit guilty about charging for those sessions. And I said to him, do you ever ask your patients to pay? He said, no, I just call them and we just talk and I don't charge them. And I said, how do your patients feel about that? Do they feel uncomfortable? Do they say to you, how much do I owe you? Do they ask if they can pay you? What happens there? And he said, actually, you're very right. People do feel a bit uncomfortable because they feel like they should be paying me, but I always tell them not to pay. And I said, well, do you see that this is a mindset block or a self-worth issue? You're not feeling like you should be paid to get to know your client, not understanding the value and level that you bring in that initial consultation, because that's effectively what you're doing. It's a mini initial consultation. So you need to start charging for those sessions, because what you're going to do is make your patients feel uncomfortable, and then they're going to feel guilty because they're not paying you for your time. And this is the key here, is that when we don't charge our worth, our patients will feel uncomfortable. Now, I'm not saying that means you should be charging $250 a session because that's what you think you're worth. I mean, if that's what you think you're worth, great, go for it. But I'm talking about being able to charge a fair price that allows you to achieve your financial goals, but still be there to give from a place of abundance. And it's important that you can do that. Why? If our cup is full and we're giving from a place of abundance and we have the financial means to do what we need to do in our business, and that might mean if we've got a good income, we can hire a VA to do our social media. We can hire a bookkeeper to do our books. We can hire a cleaner to do our housework so that we can spend a little bit more time doing our own bookwork. When you have money to burn in your business, you are a better practitioner because you can spend more time in your business or on yourself, which could involve mindset work. It could involve getting a business coach. It could be doing additional courses where you learn more about a specific topic. All of that is deeply beneficial to your patients. And the only way you can get to that place is if you are making enough money to sustain your business and the lifestyle that you want. So let me ask you, are you achieving your financial goals based on the pricing that you are currently charging? The only way you can help your patients is to have a financially viable business. So if you are a caregiver, a healer, or an empath, where you feel like there's this bit of guilt about charging for your services because you're just here to help people, then let me ask you, how many patients are you able to help if you can't keep your doors open? And this is why it's important to set fair prices that allow us to achieve our financial goals. So, what can we do to work out a fair price? And how can we make sure we achieve our financial goals? Well, the best way to do this is to work backwards. What a lot of practitioners do when they get into practice is have a look at what all the other practitioners in their area are charging for the same services, and they try to come somewhere usually in the middle. Some of us will try to go down the lower end because we believe that if we're a bit cheaper, more patients are going to come to see us. Some of us are going to go up in that higher end because we understand that sometimes something that's more expensive is perceived to be more valuable. And some of us will come somewhere in the middle. But if the prices that you've set don't help you reach the financial goals, what's the point? So it's always best to work backwards. And the best way to do that is to work out how much money would you ideally like to make in your business? Now, let's say for argument's sake, that is $100,000 that you want to make in your business and you want to give yourself some time off. So let's just work this out on 48 weeks of the year, not 52. That gives you 4 weeks of leave, including any sick leave that you might need to take. So we're going to work out our figures based on, let's say, 48 weeks. If you prefer to work 50 weeks, that's up to you. If you never take holidays, that's also up to you. But for the purpose of this exercise, let's say you want to earn $100,000 and you're going to work 48 weeks of the year. We're just going to divide 100,000 by 48 to give us the amount of money we need to earn every week in order for us to keep our business not only financially viable, but achieving the financial goals that we want to set. Now, once you've done that, you're going to put in an approximate price of what you want to charge. So let's say I wanted to charge $120 for an average session, then that effectively works out to mean that I need to see about, let me check my figures here, 17.36 patients per week. Now, is that achievable for you based on the hours that you're working? And if it's not, because you can't see that many patients, because you can't work that many hours, or because you like to do longer consultations and bigger buffer times between patients, then you have to increase your prices. Let's say you increase to $150 instead of $120. What does that mean? You'll need to see 13.8 patients per week. Now, if that feels like it's more sustainable, what you want to do is charge around about $150. Okay. Again, depends on your profession, depends on how many patients you can see. If the amount that you want to charge to reach your financial goals, and when you do your sums, you need to see way too many patients that you can't fit in, something's got to adjust. So you've got to work out what you can do. Can you bring in an additional revenue stream? What can you do? Okay. But this should give you a guide of how to set a price that you're going to feel comfortable with, that you're going to feel like you're being valued and appreciated for the services that you offer. And I also want to say that you should never let your own money blocks get in the way. A lot of us have issues around money, and I've had previous podcast episodes about this, so you can go in and listen to those. I'm not going to dive into it too deeply, but all I want to say here is that when we let our own insecurities get in the way of our patient's care, we're going to find that we're going to block the patient from wanting to take the next step forward with us and book further appointments. When we worry about our patients being able to afford our services, we're doing them a disservice because we're now projecting our own issues onto them. You're not their accountant, you're not their financial advisor, you have no idea what's going on in their lives. They could be complaining to you about having to pay all of these bills and how the cost of living and yada, 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 yada. But what you don't know is that they've just gone and brought a $200,000 car, or they've booked a trip overseas for 6 weeks, or they've just gone and bought themselves a Gucci bag. You don't know the realities of what's happening in people's situations, and it's not your place to know, to judge, or to ask questions. Your only place is to tell your patients what they need and not to worry about whether or not they can afford your services. So tell them. If they tell you that money's an issue, work something out with them. You can easily just book them less often to come in to see you and work out a schedule that works for them as well, okay? But what I will say on this is that sometimes our patients will tell us they can't afford our services, mostly because we haven't given them the value of what we offer, or because they're just testing you to see if they can get a cheaper rate. Stick to your guns. You don't need to lower your prices. If you want to have a pensioner rate, that's great, but you don't need to lower your prices for people just because they ask you to, okay? We don't want people to be haggling on price and then devaluing our services, because some of us might cave, and I promise you, you'll end up resenting a lot of those patients. And I can tell you so many stories of practitioners that have caved in and given their patients a discount only for those patients to come in and talk about them having a nose job or having a boob job or going and buying this luxury car or going overseas. And here's this practitioner working for a cheaper rate to support this patient, when in actual fact, that patient really didn't need that support, but they asked and they got it. And that's the reality. If we give in, that's what's going to happen. Okay. So stick to your guns, charge your worth. And if people aren't willing to pay that, then maybe they're not the right patient for you as well. So, do you need to increase your prices when you work out your financial goals? And that step we did earlier. And if so, what we need to do now is to work out how we're going to increase our prices. And I know this is a big block for a lot of people. They really are fearful of increasing their prices because they are worried about their patients falling off from care. I do understand and appreciate that, but I can tell you from every practitioner I know and all of the students in my Thrive in Practice course, none of them have lost any patients when they've increased their prices. Some of their patients may have gone from a monthly visit to a six weekly visit, for example, but none of them batted an eyelid over prices. Okay. And if you do lose one patient over it because whatever reason they're upset, not because they necessarily can't afford your services, you know what? It's okay, because everybody else is going to help you bump up what your worth is, and therefore the amount of money that you're making, which makes you in a happier place when you are in your practice as well. So what can we do if we do need to increase our prices and we have a little bit of a block? One, you could consider offering bundle packs. Like you could say to a patient, if you want to secure the old rates, I can give you 6 treatments or 5 treatments or 4 treatments at the old rate, but you need to pay up front. That way you've got the patient committed to those services. You can try and stretch out their treatment. So if they're coming every 4 weeks, you push them out to every 6 weeks. Whatever you can think of that you can do to work with your clients, that's a really good option as well. A lot of practitioners also bump up their initials, which is a lot easier than with regular clients. But then you're going to have people on different pricing structures, and it becomes a bit hard to manage, and it's not great, because then you start getting an influx of new clients through the door that are paying you a higher rate, and then you start feeling a bit resentful for the patients paying you the lower rate, because they're now taking time from somebody else who would have come in and paid you at a higher rate. If you need to do that, I do understand, but you eventually want to increase your prices for your existing patients at some point as well. So what can we do to implement these changes if we do need to increase our prices? One, just pick a date when you want to increase those prices and work out how you're going to communicate the price rises to your patient. You can put a sign on your reception desk, you can put something on social, you can send out an email, completely up to you how you're going to structure your communication with your patients. And I'm going to give you a really easy script that you can also use to portray your price rises to your patients as well. But I want to stress that this script that I'm giving you, I've put it in mind for the practitioner who really struggles and feels the need to justify their price rise. But I want to start by saying that you shouldn't need to justify your price rises. Your patients know that your costs have increased just as their costs have increased. I'm sure if you haven't put your prices up for a long time, your patients will expect and understand and appreciate that as well. So do not be apologetic about increasing your prices, and do not feel like you need to justify your prices. You can just say to your patients, hey, just letting you know, prices from this date will go up by this much. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. That is enough. Okay, you do not need to explain yourself. But for those of you that have a real block, I've put together a little script that you can use that kind of gives you a little bit of a justification. But again, I highly stress that you do not need to justify what you're doing, and you must not be apologetic about it, okay? Because you should not feel bad for doing what's in the best interest of your business, to keep your doors open, to be present and able to actually see and help your patients. So let me read that script to you now. Hello, client's name. I hope this email finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to share some important news with you regarding my practice. As you know, providing you with exceptional care and services is my top priority. Over the past few months, I've been reflecting on how I can continue to enhance your experience and ensure that you receive the highest quality of care. After careful consideration, I've decided to adjust my pricing structure. While this is not a decision I've taken lightly, I believe it's necessary to maintain the level of care and attention you deserve. Effective insert date, there will be a slight increase in my fees. And then you mentioned here the new pricing structure. I want to assure you that this adjustment reflects the value of the services I provide and allows me to continue to cover operational costs as well as invest in ongoing education resources and enhancements to better serve you. I understand that any change in pricing may raise some questions, and I'm here to address any inquiries you may have. Your trust and support mean the world to me, and I'm committed to ensuring that this transition is as smooth as possible for you. I look forward to continuing our journey together towards optimal health and well-being. Warm regards, your name. Nice and easy, a little bit long, but it now reflects all of those things that you feel you may need to portray. Again, reflecting to you that it is not necessary for you to go to this level of depth to explain your pricing structure. Now, if you want a copy of that script, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll copy and paste it over to you. My email is Anil, A-N-I-L, at myappointments, with an S, .app. So if you need to reach out, please do, and I'm happy to share that script with you. If you've got any questions, got any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, please like, share, or subscribe to the My Appointments YouTube channel or the Thrive in Practice podcast. And I look forward to bringing you more helpful tips at the next episode. Thanks for joining me. If you're a natural health practitioner looking to build a thriving practice, then My Appointments is here to help. Our innovative practice management software and automated solutions reduce your administrative burdens, allowing you to focus on what you do best, positively impacting your patients' lives. With plans starting at just $0 per month, you can save both time and money. Visit myappointments.app for a 30-day free trial, or for more information about the Thrive in Practice course, head to anilmustafa.com.au.